kind of a beginner's guide. I never felt that Enochian magic is really for beginners. But it is a good primer. That's how I wrote it, was to be a primer for Enochian. It's kind of better if you come into it knowing a little bit. So having that plug out of the way, I guess. Now the 30 ethers. Here's how the Enochian system works. Okay, so let me help you conceptualize this a little bit. Are you familiar with the book of Loga?
Somewhat.
Okay. It looks like when it's written, it looks like Loa Gaith, but the angels actually say in the journals it's pronounced.
Yeah, I know, I've heard it. All right, but that's it.
Okay, I'm going to explain to you guys, and this isn't going to be a long discussion. It's simpler than you think it is, but I'm going to explain to you how Enochian magic works. I mean, its whole basis. Its entire basis is the Book of Loga. John Dee used basically Solomonic methods. He was working with the Heptameron angels, but if you read the grimoire called the Arbitel, that gives all of these rules and about how magic works, how you have to do magic. And Dee was basically applying all of those rules, but instead of using the Olympian spirits, he was using the Heptameron angels. So the first thing he did was he looked in the book and said, which of these 7 archangels is in control right now? And the Arbitel said, well, that would be the Archangel of Venus, and there is the Olympian spirit Haggith. So he said, okay, fine, I'll just call the Heptameron Archangel of Venus, because he wanted to use Christian angels, not what he felt might be pagan spirits, the Olympian spirit. Okay, so he calls the ruler of the universe, Anael, and he says, hey, Anael, I have this stone here, this crystal ball, and I would like to know, is there a spirit attached to it? And Anael said, yes, the Archangel Michael is attached to it. You can talk to him through that. And said, now that we've done this, you can go to him, and I'm not going to appear to you again. And she left. So then he employs the crystal ball, essentially using the method similar to what is described in the DCIS system. I think it's called. It's the the name is slipping me. But it's called the Trithemius method of scrying into crystals. And he was basically using that kind of method with his crystal ball. And he tried to contact Michael, and lo and behold, all 4 of the main archangels were attached to that crystal. And the one who took control was Uriel, because Uriel is the gatekeeper. And he brought in the other 3 archangels and basically was kind of the master of ceremonies for the entire Enochian revelation. So every entity in the Enochian system is an angel. Most of them are subservient to one of the 4 archangels. So, for example, Raphael came in, and he's the one that revealed the language, the angelical language. He's the one that brought the Book of Loga. He is the one who revealed the alphabet. And then, Michael is the one who revealed all of the holy furniture, the holy table, the ring, the lamp, and all that stuff. All that came from Michael. So each one of the archangels, each one of the 4, had a part to play in a portion of the system to reveal. Now that it all began with Dee asking his new friends, these 4 archangels, he said, I want to read the Book of Enoch. Now we can go online right now and read the Book of Enoch. It's called 1 Enoch, or the Ethiopic Book of Enoch. But that text was lost in the West for generations. It's called the Ethiopic Book of Enoch because it was finally rediscovered in an Ethiopic Bible, where it had been all this time. But it had been all but eradicated in the West. And so Dee knew the book existed. I mean, there are references. I think it's in the book of Jude. There's a direct reference and quote from the Book of Enoch. So anyone who's studying the Bible, like Dee was, would have wanted to know more about this book. And so he asked the angels, can you bring it to me? And they said, oh, you want Enoch's book? Sure. So Raphael came, and Brian said, here's Enoch's book. And he pulled out the Book of Loga. And this is a little difficult to understand. So I hope I don't confuse issues here. But there is a text that we call the Ethiopic Book of Enoch, which is the story of Enoch. And it tells the story of him being taken into the heavens by the archangels, given a tour of all seven heavens. It was basically Merkava mysticism. He was shown around all seven heavens. And lastly, he was taken into a special chamber in the highest heaven, where he was shown what are called the tablets of destiny. The tablets of destiny are where God writes everything. Everything that ever is, was, or will be is all contained in these books written in celestial fire. And they said, we're going to give you some time, and we're going to let you copy down. They say this to Enoch, we're going to let you copy everything you can out of these books. And when he was there, and this is all described in the book of Enoch, he transcribed 366 books or 365 books or something like that, of knowledge and wisdom that he got out of these celestial tablets. And he brought them to earth. And they had all sorts of things in them, like the instructions that Noah used to build the ark were in the books that Enoch brought back. And but when the flood happened, oh, and by the way, King Solomon's wisdom was supposedly something that was contained in that book. So a lot of the biblical, the Old Testament, people that had these great powers and great wisdom and stuff, that they were getting this out of these books that Enoch had transcribed. But when the flood happened, they were lost. So any of the wisdom that remained from them is just what was passed down through Noah's line and etc. Okay. So when Dee asked, can I read the book of Enoch? The angels didn't go get the Ethiopic book of Enoch. They brought the celestial tablets, the tablets that Enoch had copied while he was in heaven. And that is what the book of Logah is. That the 49 tables of the book of Logah are the celestial tablets. And they contain all the knowledge that ever is, was, or will be within them. So the book of Logah is the foundation of the entire Enochian system. The watchtower system with the angels of the four quarters of the earth, as well as the ethers. Those are basically, that's just another word for heavens. Those are the heavens that stretch from earth to the celestial throne. Even the heptarchia. The heptarchia is a little different. That was kind of the method of working the angels gave to Dee in order to use the book of Logah. But all the other systems that I just described, the watchtowers and the ethers and anything else that came out of that, are all things that came out of the book of Logah itself. So when the angels gave Dee that book and told him to copy it, and they gave him a magical practice, which they called in their language, in the angels' language, Jebophal. That was a method that they claimed they had originally given Enoch to access and open the tables in the book of Logah. And each table in the book of Logah is one of the gates of heaven. There are 48 gates of heaven that we can open. We can't open the 49. And when we open those gates using Jebophal, we gain contact with those angels, and they can then reveal all sorts of wisdom out of the book of Logah for you. And the watchtower system is an example of that, and the ethers are an example of that. So yeah, that's how it plugs into the main system. And yes, those are all angels. That's basically the Enochian system's version of the Merkava system. You have 30 heavens instead of 7. It's because of the Gnostic influence on Enochian magic. And you have 30 heavens, and you can work your way up through those heavens toward the divine throne, learning from the angels as you go. And those 30 heavens represent the last 30 tables of the book of Logah. So you've actually got 18 tables before those that you can also open and get information and knowledge from the angels. And then you can go right into the ethers. I know that doesn't entirely simplify the subject. That gives you an idea of the structure of how it all works. And that, yes, these are angels. These are not aliens from another dimension. These are not some other species of being. This is all delivered by the 4 archangels directly through the tablets that Enoch himself was shown in what we call the Ethiopic Book of Enoch. And all the governors in the 30 ethers, all the heptarchic royalty angels, all the angels on the watchtower, those are actually angels. And just like Michael and Gabriel, Raphael, and all those guys.
Thank you very much.
Not a problem, not a problem.